Today is Wednesday, March the 10th, and you can tell from the McClellan oscillator that the bulls have finally broken the back of the bears, that we're in this complex pattern in the McClellan oscillator for quite some time. But one day over the top doesn't mean anything. We could develop this noisy pattern like we did back here at the beginning of the year, where we're oscillating back and forth over the neutral line, or we could go up and form a complex pattern like we did here and see some strength in the market. Now, the Congress passed the stimulus bill, which is going to pump 1.9 trillion into the economy, mainly in the hands of, from what I can read, of people who really need the money and who are quite likely to spend it as opposed to save it. So let's see if that happens. But the key thing here to look for in the advancers and decliners was that, unlike yesterday, where there was only a 700 advances difference between over decliners, it was much bigger today. But look at the volume. You have almost 900,000 to 300,000, about 3-to-1 advancers to decliner volume. So that's the key thing. Now let's go back. Let's just take a quick look at the charts. And I made two acquisitions today. I bought 100 shares of BLDR. Okay, let's stop this. But I also bought two other shares I'm going to talk to you about in a second. The S&P 500 did not make a new high, but finished higher than the previous day. Let's take a look at the Ichimoku, and you can see the Chikou span is flying up there. We're way above the cloud. This was a nice bounce off the bottom of the cloud. Let's just take a look at the weekly, which we don't often look at, and it's just really out of sight. Next stock we want to look at, of course, is Apple. Apple, let's just move this over a little bit. Apple didn't have a great day, down $1.16, still below the 8 EMA, and the Chikou span, let's look at that here. Let's bring the Chikou span into view. And where did the Chikou span finish? It finished just below the cloud. Unfortunately, couldn't catch support on the bottom of the cloud. Its low of the day was even lower. So really, Apple is not yet in a position yet where people are ready to buy Apple. So it's still a hold, in my opinion. I still have 300 shares, but I still have 4 June 140 short puts right up here. With my premium, means I would be buying it right about here, about 127. So let's see what happens in June. This is the other stock that I just bought, ABBV. And not that I think that it's going to do great things technically, but it just has almost a 5% dividend. So I bought it in an account that I'm just going to sit and wait on it and collect the dividend. But from a technical point of view, I like the Chikou span up here. I like the fact that we're able to break through the cloud, and we should be going higher. And what we have here is not a lot of resistance to a down drop, but what we don't see is a cloud like this. So I'm glad I bought that stock. I bought 200 shares, and I plan to continue on adding to that. The other stock I bought was IBM. And again, for the same reason, it's over a 5% dividend. It's not a swing trade. It's not a stock that I'm going to hold on to for a predefined period of time. It's just I'm going to hold it for the dividend. But if you look at the technicals and you do a Fibonacci here, I'm going to take, let's take this one. From a Fibonacci point of view, the stock is was coming up to 61.8. Here it hit 61.8 and pulled back. 61.8 for one day and pulled back. It came up to that point. Sellers were sitting above it. Now it's coming back to 61.8. So it's a stock that I like. This is a good set of Fibonacci's. You can see the 27.2 was important here. The 38.2 was equally important. But what we've got from a cloud point of view is we've got a clear break of the cloud, and the Chikou span is up there as well. So IBM is one that I continue to buy. but that's going to be a long-term hold where I'm just accumulating for dividend purposes. Now, Builder is a great stock that I bought. You remember when I bought that? It was on the advice of TipRanks. We've just hit the 200% Fibonacci. That was our target. I still expect it to go higher. Chiku Span says it will. Let's look at it on a weekly basis with the Ichimoku. Just way up there, above the 50, above the 8, way above the 200. Maybe some might say just too far above the 50, too far above the 200. But look historically, this stock tends to pull away from the 50 and then come back in, but has stayed away from the 50 with the exception right back here at the end of January. Oh, and then back here again at the end of February. But this stock is going higher. If this is the channel, we're still looking at this stock going up to $50. This is another one from TipRanks that the analyst said was going to go to $55 or $60. Plug, still a stock that I'm holding on to. Chiku Span today got resistance. Well, it was above the 50 at one point, but then pulled back. So this is still good, but we're looking for flat clouds attract. We expect it to come up here, have a little bit of difficulty, but this is a stock that should be going higher as well. NIO, I love this stock. I don't have any more short positions on it now because it's pulled back so much. All my shorts have gone. I've made a tremendous amount of income on the shorts, but now I'm looking for the stock to just move higher. There's the Chiku Span that we wanted to look at. We said we would look at it yesterday. Where is it? Let's put it into view here. Anyways, let's not. Right there. The high today was right up here at 78.2% Fibonacci. Not quite Chiku Span resistance on the top of the cloud, but this stock is going higher as well if you look at the technicals from an Ichimoku point of view. Square is another one that I'm holding on to, and you can see that we're above the cloud for the Chiku Span. We opened at the 50, pulled back to the 8 and stopped there. This is still a stock. I got some options that are going to pull a couple of hundred shares from me on Friday, and I'm just going to add more back. This is an opportunity stock. If we drew a channel here, you would see, let's just do that. Let's draw a quick channel here, and let's take a look at this. Let's go here, and let's take this and drag it down to there, bring this down to here, and now let's just take this channel up. And what have we got here? We've got a bigger channel possibly. We might have this kind of a channel happening. Let's get rid of the Ichimoku for a second and just focus on the channel. Touch at the high, touch at the bottom, touch at the high, touch at the bottom, touch at the high, then fell out of the channel, fell out of this channel, but now we're back into the channel, and this is a stock that I would like to see pulling back up to 286, and that's where we're going to have an eye on it. PRNT, as I told you, I'm not in love with it, but I still have 300 shares watching it come back, as I think that these 3D stocks might be oversold. So that's it for today. The other one we might take a look at would be of course, the volatility index, which continues to drop, now heading more towards the comfort zone. Dow Jones, new high in the Dow Jones. NASDAQ, the NASDAQ is the one that's been sold, and if we look at the last wave, let's take this Fibonacci out of there, and let's just look at this wave from here to here, because you could say both of these represented sort of a double bottom. And what do we have in terms of a pullback on the NASDAQ? We had it pulling back to take that line out of there. We had it pulling back not quite to 61.8, so not a great Fibonacci. So I'm going to take it out and look for something better. But look at the Chiku span. Resistance on this candle. Support pretty much on the cloud. Resistance on the 50. Now support on the 50. Whereas price has resistance on the 50. NASDAQ has been oversold and is looking for a rebound. All comes down really to the McClellan oscillator. The bulls have regained the control, but for only one day. We need to develop a bit of a pattern here. If we were to go back and test the neutral line tomorrow, it wouldn't be a bad thing. But look what happened the last time. We had a lot of chattering on either side of the neutral line. The S&P still, the New York Stock Composite still managed to move up. So I'm bullish. I think that if there are pullbacks, you buy the dip.